Welcome to Hamilton County TV, and this is Coach David Sharpe, Coach's Show. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks, Perry. Good to see you.
Good seeing you. This past week, we opened the Hoosier Crossroad Conference against, both teams were 2-0 and coming into this game here, and we faced the Fishers Tigers, which is a Hoosier Crossroad Conference game. First half was pretty even. Let's talk a little bit about the ball game and some of the things, some of the good things and some of the things that you know you have to work on.
We knew that their two running backs might be the two best we see all season, and that's with great respect to the other teams that we play, but Carson Dunn and Cody Martin are both 200 pounds and running 4.40s. So we don't see that every week, but we knew that we were going to probably have to score 40 points to beat this team. We knew that they were going to break some big runs. It's easier said than done to wrap up or to tap them when that guy's 200 pounds and they have two of them. and they're so quick and shifty. They pop some big runs, and we just have to do a better job defensively of closing down those lanes and being a little quicker to the ball, rallying to the ball. But when either one of those two backs had 2 or 3 yards, we just knew it's like they're going to keep going. They're very, very difficult running backs to tackle. Fisher's offensive staff did a great job of just dispersing the ball to both of them while mixing in a little bit of play action, and they had a lot of offensive success. So, but to open the game, you know, we had the ball. I got a couple first downs and kind of sputtered around midfield. They score, and then we did have a big goal line stand, not a goal line stand, but when they drove down to the red zone, score 7-7. We were able to get that big stop on 4th and 4, and that was huge. And that was the sequence where we then hit a 50-yard pass, but it gets called back for interference. So we thought that was a very big moment in the game, the pass getting called back that Aiden Brewer had caught, but we have to end up punting on that possession. They score, but you know, we go right back. We're able to get Logan Schaffner. Had quite a game. He had quite a game, and it was really highlighted by his big run there to got down about the 2-yard line to make it 14-14. They go back and score again, and then we had a nice little 2-minute drive to get some points on the board. You know, we're not the greatest 2-minute drive team, especially with we had 2 timeouts. But we're able to get down into the red zone and get Jack Letourneau a comfortable field goal opportunity to hit the buzzer, and he hit it to make it 21-17. So we felt pretty good about ourselves at halftime. They had 4 possessions and had 3 touchdowns, but we felt like these were correctable. We felt like we were going to play a lot better in the second half. And offensively, we had 2 drives that got away from us. So the first drive and then the drive with the pass interference. It was like, we honestly felt like we could have scored 35 points in the first half. We didn't. Had to settle for 17, but we felt very good about where the direction the offense was going and the defense. So had a great halftime meeting with everyone. And you talk and you figure out everything they're doing. You have iPads that give you replays of every single play, end zone view, the sideline view. You're like, okay, here's why this play didn't work. Here's why this play went big for them. Here's what happened when we stopped them. You do all that, and in the first play, they just run a simple power to Carson Dunn, and he goes 80 yards. And it's just like, that sucked the life out of us. It's 28-17, but incredibly proud of the way that we responded, going on a big Miller drive, taking about 8 minutes off the clock, and punching it in and getting a 2-point conversion to make it 28-25. And it's just like, okay, here we go. This is the ball game. There's about 15 minutes left. We're down by 3. We figure we got to stop them twice, and we got to score two more times probably to win the game. And we kick it to 81. There's speedy sophomore, and he goes 90 yards in the kickoff return. So it was like as soon as we felt good about ourselves, felt good at halftime, felt good when it was 28-25, and it was just instantly gone. And we did not respond when we were down 10. The game it was over from there. Down 10, we went 3 and out, punted, and then bam, now they're up 17. So they're so good. They're so explosive offensively, and they're really good on defense too. They match up very well against us, Fishers. They have enormous, big, strong interior defensive linemen that are very quick. So, you know, we never like seeing those guys, but we know that most teams are going to have a couple guys like that. They had quite a few. They had really good 5 techniques, just very sound and physical, quick, long arms. Sometimes they're pinching, sometimes they're playing straight, sometimes they're actually slanting out. So they were mixing things up for us. I thought our O-line overall did a very good job picking everything up. But that front line for Fishers is very good. Their 2 inside linebackers play tremendously. They're very good, very physical, disciplined, similar to the linebackers saw from Bennett Academy. But what really sets Fishers apart defensively is those defensive backs. They're very fast, very experienced. We felt those guys had great games, and we tried to go spread a few times, and they're just able to go cover 0 man, and we couldn't get much separation in the spread passing game. That's a very deep team, Fishers. I think they're really very well coached. Coach Funk, Coach Judd, the rest of their staff, they had a great game plan for us, and they were able to execute, especially in the late third and early fourth quarter, to kind of put the game out of reach. But it was a great football game for our kids to just go through, again, another back and forth battle, just like the first 2 weeks have been. But we saw speed that we have not yet seen. And we might not see speed like Carson and Kobe have for a few weeks. But we know what we need to work on. We went out Monday and did a bunch of tackling drills. And kids are embarrassed. Defensive kids are embarrassed. They had eight possessions and 7 touchdowns. It's not good. And they're ready to get after it, though, for sure. We have to have the speech that it's ancient history on Friday night, and it's time to get ready for the Shamrocks and to delete the second half of the game from your memory and get ready for the first quarter of the Westfield game.
Yeah, I think one of the positive things and one of the things that you just talked about, when you play in this conference, Hoosier Crossroad Conference, after a ball game, you got to take a look at some of the pros and cons of the game, but you just got to move on because there's another viable opponent right behind this one. So
you got to move on. You can't think twice about it. Fishers has the ability to go 80 yards in one play. We don't really have that, and we have to manufacture and earn everything. And it's frustrating and backbreaking when they have back-to-back 80-yard plays of the Carson's big run and then the kickoff return, and it can get into your head a little bit. Like, we got to go on another 15-play 80-yard drive just to match what they did in 10 seconds, and I think that's where we kind of fell apart once we got down 10 late in that third quarter. We did not respond offensively.
Yeah, one of the positive things, though, Coach, I think came out of this ball game is we have a good running game. I mean, it's not just Logan Schaffner in the running game, but the one thing about it, this was a game of rushing and everything because we had 276 yards and they had 353. Of course, they broke a couple of long runs there.
Yeah, we tried to throw the ball quite a bit early in the game. Again, we had such respect for their front seven. We were able to hit Blake Widget in the first our first touchdown drive for about a gain of 25 or 30 or so. Very well executed. We tried the exact same play to Gage Gully a couple drives later. We had him open and we overthrow him by step. That would have been an enormous play for us. But Landon is getting there. Landon is it's his third game now. He's still 14 years old, and we have a lot of confidence in him. And he broke a couple of nice runs too. We tried to feature him just a little bit more. As all 3 of our games, we're just featuring him just a little bit more, both running and throwing. And we're getting to the point where we're ready to really turn him loose and let him be a much bigger part of the offense now that he's got his sea legs. I really feel like that, and you see his demeanor in practice. I think Landon Hughes has all the tools and the demeanor and the brain to be a great quarterback and do what we want him to do. And it's going to be nice having his wheels and his throwing arm, throwing accuracy as we continue to get through this season, and then obviously in the future too. We can open things up for him and play to his skill set as he gets a little bit older.
Coach, let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about this week's ball game with Westfield, which is another very good opponent. And this is a Midland Trophy game for us with Westfield. But we haven't always fared well against Westfield in the last 10 years, in the last 10 games, but it's still a rivalry because we're not very far apart.
Not far apart at all.
Not far apart at all. And you played them twice last year, okay, in the regular season, and then we faced them in the playoffs. So a lot of those players are gone. He's got a new group of players at Westfield, Coach Gilbert does. Let's talk a little bit about this week's game and what you expect and some of the things that maybe we'll do a little bit different than we did this time last year.
Right. The one advantage we have in our conference is everybody kind of runs the same offense, and we're going to get a very similar scheme that we've already seen 3 times now, and so it's mostly about us lining up, getting a little more physical, being a little quicker with our key reads, getting to the right place at the right time defensively. They're going to have some good linemen, some good skilled players. They play with a little bit more, a little heavier packages this year. Like they play with multiple tight ends at many times. So that's a little different than from years past with them playing to their personnel. It's just about us getting better, getting unblocked, refuse to get blocked, and just getting nastier defensively, and just getting scrappier. And we had a huge play in our game against Fishers. We had got them into a 3rd and 16. They lob up a prayer into double coverage, and we interfere for no reason. And it's a ticky-tack call, but it's like, why bump into them like at the last second? Just go up and swat it down. So these are little things that it doesn't really matter who we're playing, right? We got to get better at these base fundamentals defensively, and I feel like we're addressing that. The kids know it. They're obviously humiliated, and they're trying to get better at it. So it really doesn't matter who we're playing in that kind of context. And then offensively, we feel pretty confident we can. I don't know how they're going to line up against us, but we feel confident that within our blocking rules and our blocking system, we can attack any kind of front. And that's why I love our offense, because we don't know what we're going to get, but we are prepared for everything. We have tools in our toolbox. We have code words and tags, and the offensive line is very experienced. They can communicate on how to block certain fronts, slants, stems, blitzes, you name it. So I feel good with this group, that we can figure out what they're going to line up in. And it really doesn't matter what the jersey says. It happens to be our, Fishers is a big rivalry, Westfield's a big rivalry, but I think our kids are ingrained that it's not, that guy's jersey doesn't say Westfield. He is a 3 technique. He is a 20 linebacker. He is a 0-0 linebacker. He is a 7 technique. Like they think of the guys like that when we're defensively, and I think that's good for us. I think that kind of helps calm us down. And overall, like when you're talking about like a great tradition, a great rivalry with Westfield and those guys like that, it's more about taking all that stuff out of kids' brain. It's great for fans. It's great for people to talk about, but there's really only 11 people at a certain time that matter, and there's going to be 7,000 or 8,000 people at the game. I think our kids are mentally focused enough to stay dialed in the moment and not get sucked into the hoopla.
Because basically what you're talking about, many coaches have the same philosophy, either in football or in basketball. You're playing the game.
We're playing the game.
The game of football, okay? And so all that other stuff that people like me and our fans get excited about, the rivalry, and we haven't beat them forever, or this type of thing. You're basically trying to take that out of the mix and everything.
We're going to play our system, play our style of ball, and O&D and special teams, and they're going to play their system, and they're going to try to take what we're giving them, so to speak, on both sides of the ball. And it might be a back and forth game, and we'll hopefully the better team can figure it out in the 3rd and 4th quarter. We gotta have a big step up in the 4th quarter, because we did not do very well against Fishers in the 4th quarter.
Yeah. The one thing, another question, and this is me as Joe Q fan, but did basically Westfield in those 2 games last year, did they give you the same look defensively in both games, or did they mix it up? Because I know that with everyone playing everybody, especially, there's an advantage of playing teams that are very close and spend a lot of time. I mean, you know the kids even
Yeah.
if you don't coach them, okay? So do they?
There were a few tweaks from the playoff game to the regular season game. We don't know what we're going to get. You know, it's
okay. That's what
I will say. Kind of like Westfield, because they were so good last year. They did play us slightly on the conservative side compared to other teams, like how they choose to play within the front line and that sort of thing. So we'll be prepared for whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
It makes no sense for us to guess what they're going to do. So that's why we just prepare for everything under the sun, and then when it shows up on Friday, we feel like the kids will know how to figure it out.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know, because I know those are a lot of questions that people have out there that, you know, and
it does help the kids that played twice against us last year. I think that is a big advantage for them to have gone against us for so many snaps in a row. Guys like Dykos and Dager,
yeah, because
Goodvine, Thieneman, it's like those guys, they've been against us quite a few times, and going back to their sophomore year too for some of them, and that is kind of an advantage. I feel like it's hard to simulate what we do, especially with our big guys, and they can go back to that both those games and kind of remember some success and some things that they did against us, and they just know how to fit a little bit better as opposed to a rookie going against us. Because we want to be different. We don't want to be the same 11 personnel offense that everybody in the conference runs. I feel like if we lined up like everybody else, we're probably a step slower than the rest of the conference, and we'd probably be pretty easy to defend when you're just in your base defense. So by being funky and unique, I think it's to our advantage that we give somebody a matchup they only get once a year. We're using our strength, which is our big O linemen, right, and our cradle of running backs that really do exactly what we want them to do. So we still feel very, very confident about our system and which direction we're going in offensively.
Yeah, because like you said, none of the teams in our conference see this type of offense week after week. I mean, like you said, everybody does about the same thing in this conference. I mean, there's variations, but no one does. So what we do,
we're hoping it can be it can level the playing field for us as we continue throughout this season.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Coach. Hamilton County TV will be here for this game. I'm sure it's going to be a big crowd on both sides, but you know, what you're concerned about is right out there on that football field. I wish you the best of luck this week.
Thank you. Can I give a quick shout out to our JV team?
Absolutely.
We scored on the last play of the game with 1 second left to beat Fishers on Saturday morning, and we kind of made a big emphasis on that. We're just like, control what you can control after a humiliating second half letdown. And we really challenged JV kids, just let's get out there and let's represent the Millers. And we had an amazing 5-minute drive to kind of finish the game and score with 1 second left. So very proud of our JV team, now 3-0.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it.
Go Millers.